Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go, man. Hunt the ball. Let's go, family on 3. 1, 2, 3, family.
Hello, football family. Welcome into Huddle It Up Films game preview. We've hit the gauntlet of the schedule. Cleveland Browns coming to town to Baltimore for a Sunday night football game. Jake could not make it today, but Garnett, coming off his fourth ACL surgery, is still in the house, trooping it day after Thanksgiving it. How you doing, Sergeant West? How's it going, sir?
I'm doing good, man. How about you doing, man? Was it a good Thanksgiving for you, Jason?
It was. No complaints here. Did the family thing and just sitting here to watch some football yesterday and started thinking about that Browns game. Been thinking about it all week. You probably have too.
Absolutely.
So, Garnett, we have a lot to talk about with this game. The health of both teams are polar opposites. The ESPN Browns reporter, Jake Trotter, said today that the Browns are the healthiest they've been since training camp. Of course, they got Kareem Hunt coming back, Jack Conklin, great right tackle, coming back. Whereas with the Ravens, we've had people in and out of practice all week. It's just crazy. It just won't stop, Garnett.
Yeah, man. You know what? It's one of the things where I feel like this, it's a little thing that I grew of nature of. I think a lot of us that's grown nature too in the Marine Corps. It's like we don't ask for good news no more. We only ask for bad news. So it's like I got good news and bad food, gentlemen. No, I want the bad news first, and that's all we've been receiving. So I'm used to it now. And it's perfect timing for Cleveland. They've been the healthiest ever since training camp, correct?
That's what he said.
Yeah, man. So, hey, it is what it is, man. I'm not even surprised.
Yeah, there is one big injury for the Browns, of course, and it's Baker Mayfield. And you can see it. I watched the last two games. You can see it in his play. He's not completing 60% of his passes in those games. He's been in the 50s and just doesn't look right. So just because somebody's playing doesn't mean that they're at 100% health. And that's a big injury for the Browns.
Right. Yeah, man, it is. It's pretty huge because it really limits the offensive coordinator play calling and like how he wants to attack any type of certain defenses. But yeah, man, but positive. I think I saw that Kareem Hunt is looking healthy as well. So basically, there's going to be multiple ways to take the load off of Baker. But man, we'll see.
Yeah, so for the Ravens, Calais Campbell hasn't practiced all week. He's still in concussion protocol. Harbaugh sounded hopeful, but you can never count on that coming back, 2 days before the game, right where we sit and recording now. Jimmy Smith hasn't practiced all week. Doesn't look like he'll play. Anthony Averett, Tavon Young, Chris Westry, Brandon Williams, Pat Ricard. I mean, the list goes on and on. These guys have been in and out of practice. Ardarius Washington broke his foot, so we lost some insurance there in the back end. But Garnett, polar opposites. The Ravens are really going to have to show their resiliency again to show up and play a good game here, especially against a dangerous Cleveland team.
Absolutely, man. And you just rattled off a whole bunch of names on injuries, man. And the thing about it, everybody has to play their role, do their job, and execute, and just play to the standard that we should have across the board. And that is just play relentless Ravens football and try to make the least amount of mistakes possible. And that's the biggest thing that I take from this journey for this team is basically, no matter how much stuff that goes against us, somehow, somewhere we have a chance to be in that. And that's the bottom line with this team, man. We literally, it's crazy how we rattle off names. Like now it's getting to a point where we used to be starstruck and all that.
Yeah, we're numb to it. Yeah, it's like we're numb to it. I mean,
Yeah,
that's not even counting the big ones we've put out of our heads already with JK and Gus and Justice Hill, top 3 running backs, pretty much done without Ronnie Stanley, all-pro left tackle all year. Derek Wolfe, not going to play a snap this year. Marcus Peters, just so important to the defense. Deshaun Elliott's gone. So for those who aren't scoring at home, or if you're a Browns fan watching this, it's not just the preseason injuries. It's not just an old narrative. The Ravens just keep getting beat up. But Garnett, for this week, most of the injuries are on the defensive side of the ball. So really the pressure seems to be on the offense here. Lamar, to really produce and put up points against the Browns, which hasn't been a problem for the Ravens. Last year, they pretty much scored when they wanted to against this Cleveland Browns team.
Yes, you're quite right about that. And my only pushback is this year is just we already know the pushback, but I'll just get to what my point is the fact that our offense have been very, very, very slow for quite some time in a lot of games, like consistently slow. And with the defense that's going through is injuries right now. It's one of the things where we have to keep on continue to do it. Like this is the game where we don't try to lean on the defense to be perfect or flawless for 4 quarters. If the offense comes out there and puts up 7 on the first drive, when the last time you seen that? When the last
I
time?
know. I can't remember actually.
It's
Usually something like that would jump right out, and I can't remember.
exactly, and that really the reason why I brought that up because I wanted that reaction show. Like, damn, this is crazy, man. It's like it's one of those things where we're gonna get into it a little bit, just a little bit of the last game, but Greg Roman, I want to see him feed off the back end of that Chicago game and bring that to the Cleveland game. I think we will be successful in certain areas.
Yes. So you're looking for just in general in this game, borrowing some of what we used when Tyler Huntley was in there. Looked like a little bit of the preseason game plan, a little bit watered down. The running backs were targeted 8 times, called all 8 passes. You saw some of that just safe, moving the chains type of ball. We only went 3 and out once in that game, Garnett, with a backup quarterback in an emergency situation, finding out he was starting a couple hours before the game, few hours before the game. So I thought Roman did a really nice job this week, and I agree with you. It would be good to see some of that incorporated with Lamar just to take some pressure off the former MVP there.
Absolutely, man, and it's like one of those things where it's crazy that your mega star player has to go out for you to help out a quarterback in certain instances of that nature, man. And I feel like if we could just do this down the stretch. I'm usually the negative Nancy of this show. Everybody knows that I'm always against the purple patrol or the purple propaganda. You know what I mean? Well, purple propaganda, aka that means basically only speaks highly and no negative aspects of our team. So just throw that out there. But it's one of the things where if we just play, like I say, there's a standard in Baltimore, and I think it's withering away in a weird way, where if we just play and execute and play like Ravens, man, I think we can this journey can either be very smooth or very hellacious, however you want to make it, man. But yeah, that's how I look at it.
Well, I mean, this Browns team has lost 4 or 6 games too, so it's not everything sunny in Cleveland too. So we can look at our own faults, but I think that Baltimore does have some advantages in this matchup. The first thing we're going to go over though is when the Ravens have the ball, the offensive line of the Ravens versus the defensive line versus Cleveland. And Garnett, this is one where we really have to hold up. This is not an advantage on paper for the Ravens. Ravens have been helping their tackles, McCary and Villanueva, all year long. Now they have Myles Garrett coming to town, who has 13 sacks on the year. The Ravens have allowed 34 sacks in 10 games. So you add it up, it's going to be tough to keep the pressure off of Lamar. I expect to see a lot of Pat Ricardo and Nick Boyle in this game to help try to neutralize Myles Garrett, because that's got to be concern number one, Garrett versus Villanueva on that left tackle side.
Absolutely, man. That's just horrifying by itself. And it's funny. It's gonna happen again in 2 weeks from now again. So it's one of those things where, like, hey, man, it's a put up or shut up. It's put up or shut up season from here on out, man. And those those 101s are be fatal. Like, there's no way in hell we'll be able to double them at all times. We just gotta make it count when we don't double them. We gotta, be very strategic about what we do against that Garrett, against the Clowney, and then also there are no pushovers in the middle of that defense either. But that's where our strength is on that right side, as we all know, with Bozeman and Zeitler with a nice combination.
Yes, and Clowney versus McCary should be an interesting matchup because Clowney's just such a big, powerful guy. He doesn't look like he's moving even like he did a few years ago, but all the strength in the world, one of the strongest edge players in the game. against McCary, who's not a very strong player, but can move like nobody's business, his mirroring skills, his quickness, his aggressiveness. So that's going to be a clash of styles there on the right side. We really do have to take care of Myles Garrett. And this Ravens offensive line in the middle has the ability to be stout. I mean, you look at Malik Jackson and Malik McDowell. They also have Jordan Elliott, kid that came out of Missouri, I think, last year. They're better pass rushers than they are run defenders. So maybe the opportunity here on the line to take advantage would be that the middle of the line. Like you said, they're not pushovers, but they're definitely not Garrett and Clowney.
Yes, sir. And I think I said, I think I said maybe about 3 minutes ago, like that's our bread and butter between those two combinations between Zeiler and Bozeman. If we can just somehow work to the second level, I'm trying to stay in the interior of the defense, but so I'm gonna have to incorporate the linebacker play. But with their linebacker with Wilson and Taki, I think I said
Taki.
yeah,
Yeah,
Taki,
it's actually Anthony Walker, the old Colts guy.
and Anthony Walker, those three, and those guys in general, all three, and especially Anthony Walker, it's like he's a very keen, smart guy, a veteran linebacker. But I feel like if we can just get a hat on him and then just get him out of position, it's going to work out wonders for us. And I think this is another week, as we mentioned before, of having Boyle back, and hopefully, he'll have his legs under him because we're going to need him, tremendously.
Definitely. So let's go to when the Ravens have the ball and we're running the ball. Now the Ravens running offense has been up there all year. They're still fifth in the league at 4.8 yards per carry. The Browns run defense is pretty good itself. 4.1 yards per carry allowed. That's seventh in the league. Like I mentioned earlier, though, they gave up 136 yards to DeAndre Swift last week, almost 10 yards a carry. So the Browns have this up and down nature to their defense, much like we're used to here in Baltimore, unfortunately, this year. Jeremiah Wusu-Karamoa, another linebacker they have. And it looks like Devontae Freeman has really settled in for the Ravens as their lead back here, complimenting Lamar in that running game.
Right, and that's why I would like to see. I think we talked about this multiple times in the show. It's like it's really hard to judge a running back and see how much juice he has when he doesn't get the proper amount of carries. And I think, like you said, he's solidified his role in this offense clearly. So yeah, I'm with you on that.
Now, would you expect this to be a big running day for Lamar? Because I kind of feel like this is the kind of game where you pull out all the stops. Then again, Lamar's coming off the illness. How much do you think regular 8 to 10 carries, 8 to 12 carries, or you think they might lean on Lamar even more in this matchup?
I think that depending on his health, man, that's the trick. That's the most trickiest thing about it, because at the same time with when Boyle came back, a lot of people thought that, oh man, we're gonna get the Boyle, you know what I mean? But it's not what you thought, man. Even when he had that the one time where he tried to get the one catch that he tried to do to the there. Hold on for a second, and we're good. All right, so with that. Well, with the back to the Boyle incident, when he threw the ball that was thrown to the left side with Huntley, and it was a little bit too high for Boyle. It wasn't really high. He just couldn't get off the ground because of his health. So it's one of the things where when it comes to Lamar, it's like how I know it's a stomach issue, but I wonder. I don't know what kind of role it's going to play on him, man. I hopefully he's 120% like he said, but back to the question of him relying on the legs, I don't know, man. I don't want him to rely on the legs, but in the later half, I will want him to. But that's why I have trust in Roman to put a game plan together where we can get those linebackers in space and put Clowney in space, make them make smart decisions on those plays.
That's kind of what I was thinking, to isolate Clowney on those plays and make him make a decision, because it's just a really tough job for someone to do. And we've seen the effectiveness of these read options kind of decline as defenses get more and more used to it. But it's still there. If you want your 3 to 5 yards and you want to keep the chains moving, you want to get into third and shorts, and Ravens have had a lot of trouble on third downs. Lamar running the ball, maybe an option. I saw Jeff Zreback on Twitter get asked about Nate McCrary, and he said that it wouldn't surprise him if he eventually got active, but maybe not this week because we're going to have to replace so many people on defense. So it's something I wish Jake was here actually to bust that out and get his opinion on. So how about the passing game, Garnett? The Ravens passing offense, 7.6 yards per attempt. That is 10th in the league. The Browns pass defense, this is their lowest rank. They're 15th, middle of the pack. They're allowing 7.2 yards per attempt. So despite the good pass rushers and despite a good secondary, Browns just middle of the pack. They have some very good players, though, on that side. They have Denzel Ward, former first-round pick. I think he was the 4th overall pick. Greg Newsome, the rookie first-rounder this year, is playing well. They have Troy Hill. I believe he's questionable, but he should play. And then, of course, the 2 veteran safeties that they have back there in Harrison and John Johnson. But it's kind of a mishmash group. Like they are like their corners are really good defending the pass. Their safeties, they don't really have a true free safeties. Their linebackers have struggled some. And of course, Owusu Karamoa is a jack of all trades. But this is obviously the Ravens' strength here. Their receiver group with Bateman, with Hollywood Brown, with Sammy Watkins, and a man that the Browns haven't been able to cover very well, and that's Mark Andrews. I expect a big day for Andrews in this matchup.
Absolutely, my friend. One thing that I would like to see us expose on Cleveland, if we can catch them in those heavy linebacker personnel, is pick on Anthony Walker. Like for the time that I've seen him in Cleveland, he gets exposed a lot in coverage when at the linebacker position. When he's going against a actual really good tight end or some sort of that nature. So I think that's going to be pretty beautiful for us if we lean on that. And also the main thing when it comes to our passing offense, is throw the ball a couple times on first down, man. It's like the default dive that we do that gets like no little to 1 or no yards, no gain. That really kills us and puts us in a crappy situation. And I feel like that's where you can do a quick slant. When the last time you seen a quick slant, my brother? Like
we could use more of them, that's for sure. Because when we've thrown them, it seems like they're there, but we don't use them, and that's what we've been calling about on this particular show is the quick passing game, not bubble screens, nice little slants, stuff like that, just to get
right.
the offense, get the offense moving. But yeah, it's a strange group because Cleveland does have very good cornerbacks, but the Ravens are one of the few teams that can match them in talent in that area, with really 4 really good targets right now for the Ravens.
Absolutely, and speaking of those targets, like we mentioned about Mark Andrews and trying to expose those linebackers. Speaking of linebackers, this would be the game where the Lamar stopper and Owusu Koromoa.
Right.
This is going to be a first go around. Let's see how that goes. But like we'll see how that goes. But when it comes to the rest of those weapons, I remember I just heard Sammy Watkins talk about this is the first time that all 3 of us are like somewhat healthy, be able to perform. Man, I feel that if we were able to put Hollywood in the slot, this is just me and just going off of what he's been super successful in, Hollywood in the slot. And then basically they like to sit in, they have multiple safeties, but they like to sit 2 safety high.
Pretty much, yeah. It's all zone.
Exactly, and this is right up Hollywood's alley in my point of view. What do you think about that?
I do, and I actually really like Sammy. I like all 3 of them really versus zone defense. But I mean, you give them, they can all find soft spots, and of course, I think that's why Mark Andrews is 8 in these matchups, Garnett, because not only is it hard to find, they haven't had a safety or a linebacker who could really match them, but they're sitting in those zones that Andrews takes advantage of. So, if you're Greg Roman, we talked about it a little bit before. What is your plan of attack? What are you doing early, maybe? What are you trying to set up for later? How many shots are you taking? Are you incorporating the running back in the passing game? Are you trying to establish the run? Are you just going to double team Garrett and send 2 or 3 guys out on the route? How are you going to attack this? There's a lot of ways that the Ravens could go about it.
Yeah, and that's a hell of a question you asked there, Jason. And the best thing I would say, just put these guys in space. Make them think. Like make them. How can I put this? We be proactive instead of reactive, and that's what we've been doing as our offense. We've been very reactive for quite some time often. That's why I think we're so slow to come out the gates multiple times. Like it's one of those things where it shouldn't take three quarters of a game to all finally make an adjustment. I think we have the pieces. We've seen it multiple times. But yeah, to come out the gate to mess with them, man, just quick passes. Maybe take a shot deep. See if you can get a play action, a pass interference call to help us out. That literally helped us out in that Chicago game a couple of times. So like keep it going, man. But most of back, just keep on getting the ball, keep on getting the running backs involved in the short passing game. Instead of just a speed jet option or a jet sweep to Duvernay, how about we try a bubble screen from the inside or something? Be more creative. That's why I'm not saying do some crazy stuff that you see on Madden or anything, nothing crazy like that, but just be more creative to the personnel that you have, and it'll be very successful. The moment I started seeing Prochet the second out there catching those short balls in those zone beaters, that's when I feel very comfortable with our offense, which is weird. It's somewhat weird to say, but I do. It's one of those things where I know we're go ahead, brother.
I was going to say he's got a certain kind of route and timing in his routes, where if Prochet's catching the ball, it's the quick passing offense that we've been talking about. There's little whip jerk routes and all the stuff that Prochet does, little crossers, slants. So yes, when you see Prochet involved, I mean that's something that we could get Devin Duvernay involved in as well, just to get the ball in the hands of a playmaker. But I got to tell you, Garnett, what I want to see is I want to see us treat this first drive like it's the last drive, mentality wise. So I don't really care what they do, but like this would be where I would get Lamar involved in the run game. When you get closer to midfield, take a shot to Hollywood, because let's treat it like 4 down territory. That kind of thing. I think the Ravens, what they need to do is do what they have to in this first drive to get ahead, to put 6 points on the board finally, to put Cleveland's offense in a bad position, because, we'll get to the other side of the ball, but Cleveland is hurting in the passing game. They need to run the ball. I would like to see some immediate pressure. The Ravens apply some pressure, get that crowd hype on a Sunday night, and really get this game started right to get off on the good foot. And it's just such an important game, Garnett.
Absolutely, man. You can't, and then the thing about it, you can't be wearing all black and play like wusses, man. Like you can't be playing in all black with your tail tucked between your legs. That's the best way to put it, man. Come out there, be aggressive, like you just said, brother. Throw it deep. Try to make them fear that you're gonna go over the top. Don't play reactive ball like we've been doing, like we just said. And I'm right there with you, man. Like, cause when we make the transition over to the other side, man, it's literally, if the faster we put 7 on the board and we're able to put our defense out there, now we're putting them in a situation where how heavy do they really want to ride on that run game, knowing that there's a chance that we're going to put up another 7 on their head because we're coming out there being aggressive on offense.
Yeah, I've heard Greg Roman say before, well, I'm calling plays now to set up plays for later. And why don't you go to the hurry up? Well, we have a plan and we want to stick with the plan. And, if that's the case, what I would say to Mr. Roman this week is, Greg, we have to treat the first drive like the last drive of the game. We need to do what we have to do. Forget about setting stuff up for later. Use your previous games as what you've set up to do right now, because now we're in, 5 division games in the last 7 games of the season. It's time to win right now. These are the games that count the most. You have to win this game at home. And Garnett, I want to ask you, are the All Blacks your favorite uniform?
It is. It's like all right. So it's like when I go to war, and I put on my face paint or whatever. Any kind of thing that anybody does for any kind of situation where it involves a rival, or I should say, if you want to consider Cleveland a rival, it's a division game. That's what I'm going at. All black it sets the tone. It sets the tone, man. Like you mean serious business. Like it's called. When I was in high school, we used to wear all black when we black out the stadium. It was a blackout, right? You know what I mean? So it's one of those. It's a thing where it's like it's funny, man. So it's like you ever heard of when dudes wear all black Air Force Ones?
Nah.
So if you seen a dude wearing all black Air Force Ones, you don't mess with him.
Okay.
He means business. Like that's the best way to put it, man. Like trust
See,
me.
now I thought it was the guys with the dirty shoes, the guys
No,
that didn't care about their shoes. Those are the guys you don't mess with.
no, but all black Air Force Ones and they're dirty. You're screwed. You're done. That so
All right.
that's how all black jerseys are when it comes to just sports and just in general.
Now, see, I'm going to throw a curveball here. I used to like the All Blacks. They used to be my favorite. Now, man, the black jersey with the purple pants, man, that just looks so dirty. Every time I go back and watch the Colts tape, and the Ray Lewis's final game at the stadium was also in those. I mean, I just love it, man. I just love it. So yeah, man, I'm going with that black and purple, man. That's my new favorite.
I
But
can't hate.
hey, aside from jerseys, though, let's flip it over to the other side of the ball. On the offense for the Cleveland Browns, they have one of the best lines in the game. And as we mentioned earlier, they're getting their right tackle back for the first time in weeks, Jack Conklin, versus a Ravens defensive front. We mentioned the best player on that front all year, Calais Campbell, may not play in this game. This is, for me, the most crucial matchup because Garnett, I think that I know the Ravens have advantages in some areas in this game, but if we get beat on both lines of scrimmage, then it's not going to matter. Cleveland's going to win this game. So being able to stand up to this offensive line of Cleveland, this Ravens defensive front has got to show up.
Absolutely. It's going to be if Calais doesn't clear concussion protocol, that means we're relying on Jelly, Roger Washington, Matabuke, which those guys are not bad, especially Matabuke if he stays consistent. But when Calais Campbell it's like a difference maker. Like you say, he's the best interior guy, or just one of the best front seven guys we got. And speaking of, along with the front seven with Bowser, if he can just continue on his pace or what he's doing, man, I think we might have a chance. But it really, they're so good in the interior of their offensive line. That what really scares me it's like they can win their one-on-one battles easily and get to the second level easily, and that what really bothers me, man. And I'm just, man, it's I'm gonna pray to God for Jelly, man, because he's gonna have a tough day that Sunday night, man. This is gonna be really tough. What do you think?
Yeah, and I hope Brandon Williams comes back, and maybe the injury was what was slowing him down because we're going to need him too. And just like on the Ravens offensive line, the middle of the line for the Cleveland Browns is where they're strongest, because I believe that we can get to them on the edges as far as the pass rush goes. Jedrick Wills, he's a better pass blocker than he is a run blocker, but he's still in his second year. Conklin's coming back off of injury. We've seen our edge rushers away. Bowser, you mentioned, just doing some work. And, of course, Justin Houston is going to get pressure every game that he plays. So, yes, for me, Garnett, the big boys on the inside, though, have got to show up, especially on first and second down, to put Cleveland in third and long, give our pass rushers a chance to get after this Cleveland offensive line. We cannot let the Cleveland offensive line dictate the tempo.
And with that being said, I'm going to get Wink, if you're listening, please, sir, be aggressive on first and second downs, and then lay off. Please, just lay off and trust Bowser can get there in 2.6 seconds, because he surely did on the last play of the game when you only sent 4, which is crazy. I'm not taking a shot at Wink. I love you, but man, please.
Aggressive early. Okay.
Yeah.
So we got to the wink portion early, which is nice, man. So attack them on the early downs, sit back, drop 7-8 in the coverage when it's third down. Okay. So I like that. So what about the Browns running the ball? Obviously, the strength of their team. Let's get into the numbers. The Browns are number 1 in the NFL. They average 5.2 yards per carry. The Ravens run D, still pretty good. In fact, I think they're number 1 in yardage allowed. But as far as average per carry, the Ravens are 12th at 4.2 yards per carry. So it has been a stout group, but obviously with the Browns struggling in the passing game and Baker Mayfield's injury, I mean, this is what they do. They're going to want to run Nick Chubb. They got Kareem Hunt back. So how do you like our chances of at least being able to slow down this Browns rushing attack?
Depending on the firepower and personnel we have, and depending on the health and the status of them being active that day, I can't really tell you my chance. You know how I feel, how I completely feel. But what I will say is this, brother, is this is where if we know if these statistical values are fool's gold or is it the real deal? Because the teams that we play have been somewhat horrible with the run. So other than Minnesota with Cook, and then was Chicago okay in the run?
Yeah, I mean we've played some good ones, but not the juggernaut of Cleveland and Tennessee.
See Tennessee,
This is
yeah.
a different type of run team for sure.
Exactly. So that's my thing. I want to see if we're, this like you said, this run, like from here on out, it's nothing but run heavy teams. So I mean, like, and I told myself this, like, hey, this team got to this team should earn all of our respect because we hold them to a certain standard. We're not going to drop the standard. We understand injuries, but yeah. But to get back on point, I feel that we should. I feel confident if we do what I think we should do, it just go heavy on the first and second down. And I do feel confident about us being able to, have their offense be a little stagnant coming out the gate with the run game. You can't stop, my bad. You cannot stop Nick Chubb for going. He's going to get one. We know it's going to happen. Our defense, I'm not even going to make it up. But our defense will allow something to happen. And then, since they're being a heavy run team and Nick Chubb is Nick Chubb,
Yeah, we saw Jonathan Taylor here in the run in the past game. That was probably the best back that we faced. But Austin Eckler, Denver had a pretty good running game. So it's not like we faced bums, but Cleveland is just a different animal. And then the other thing with it, Garnett, is they play their tight ends are their best eligible players other than their running backs. So you're going to see 3 tight ends on the field at the same time, lined up in different places. If it's not 3 of them, you're usually going to see 2 of them. You got Njoku, you got Hooper, and you got the Harrison Bryant, I believe his name is, the rookie from last year. So 3 versatile players, tight ends. And what that's going to do, Garnett, is it's going to allow us or force us to have 3 linebackers out there. So this is a huge game for Patrick Queen, Josh Bynes, Malik Harrison coming back off of his stint on the injury list, where Malik was practicing fine. Harbaugh said he looked good. So it's not only a big game for Jelly Ellis, and if Brandon can play, but it's going to take a group effort. It's going to take Adafio Way dominating Wills on that side to not let them stretch us out so much. It's going to take discipline, backside pursuit, staying in your rush lanes, and then Garnett, something that's not so technical, just good old-fashioned physical football. I mean, we're really going to need to bring the pain with some attitude, like we saw in that Tennessee game against Derrick Henry in the playoffs. Like, there was no stopping us. It was that kind of mentality. That's the mentality we're going to have to bring to this game. And if we can slow down the Browns' rushing attack, they're going to have a hard time in other areas moving the ball on us, I believe.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's the thing about it. With their tight ends, just to be a little bit more specific, out of all 3 of them, David Njoku scares me the most because he's more of the more athletic vertical threat out of all 3 of those guys. And the biggest issue that we have on defense is the fact that we are always out of place at the wrong time. Well, right time for the other team conveniently, but for us, we're always at the wrong place. So those plays like the time Brandon Stevenson, I wanted him to get an interception last game. We all saw the tape. He didn't do it.
No.
And then he did some other stuff that happened, but is what it is. I'm used to it now. I accepted it, but I want to see him. I'm really hoping he comes around this game, man, because this is like how we talk about the 3 tight ends. They're gonna go after him. That's what I see, man.
Me too. I mean, Brandon Stevens been up and down. And, really for most of the last month, it hasn't been a lot of good. It hasn't been a lot of up. He's really taking his lumps. Like you're saying, if we put Geno Stone on the back end, Brandon Stevens is going to have to come in, cover some of these tight ends. So yeah, another a big game for Brandon Stevens to come up. It would be nice if he could make some plays in the box, tighten up his angles to the run game, find that mix of being aggressive, but not too aggressive. Something it just seems like he's like feeling out the speed of the game right now. Are you sensing that from Brandon?
Yeah, I think so. It's one of those things where he's sensing out the speed of the game, but basically, I feel like he's thinking, well, all right, if this guy comes, I got to jump it. But if he doesn't, I got to jump on this route. I feel like he's just throwing too much at himself right now. And that just sort of what goes back to the coaching, my point, where you put these guys in a position where they don't have to think so much. And that's what we've been seeing for quite some time with these guys, man. The back end has been put in a position to like either be all in or ass out. Excuse my language, but and that's what's happening right now, man. And I think if we can fix that, man, especially with the injury to Baker, how we discussed earlier, like the vertical shots with I know we haven't got to the receivers yet, but they do got a couple guys that do scare me. Sneaky, scary type of guys that got a couple speed and size on them.
Yeah, Donovan Peoples-Jones, and of course Hollywood Higgins. We're familiar with Jarvis Landry still in there, but it's not a extremely talented group. And like I said, with the tight ends on the field all the time, you're lucky if you see more than two receivers out there at the same time. So the Ravens very thin in the secondary this week. But, the good news is we're playing a team that's not stacked with wide receivers. So maybe the Ravens catch a break for this week. If we have Marlon, Anthony Averett out there, along with Chuck Clark, maybe that's enough to really stick with their main weapons as far as receivers go.
Key contributors, like you was talking about the other receivers, other than that, big play threat abilities, other than Jarvis Landry, I don't see nobody else being, oh my God, we have to, shade or bracket defense to that one side of the field. We don't have to do that. So it's a beautiful thing with our secondary. So it's really helping the secondary out so much to just worry about the tight end packages and them coming across the middle or those aspects.
Right. So the Browns passing offense, 7.6 yards per attempt, rather. That's 10th in the league. The Ravens, Garnett, still sitting at 30th in the league, allowing 8.1 yards per attempt. The Browns have given up 31 sacks. So there you go. And what I have to say to that is it's going to be big to slow them down on first down and second down and let our pass rush get after these guys because they can be had as their sacks, letting you to believe. And then again, you want to be able to hit Baker Mayfield in this game to shake him up, to rattle him. He's not going to want to get hit. So the more pressure, the better. And the way to do that, Garnett, is to keep him behind the sticks and stand up for ourselves on first and second down.
Absolutely. So with all this being said, I got a little hyped in the middle of the show. So are we saying there's a no wink in being involved in this game? No winking?
You know what? I kind of like your plan.
Yeah.
I like the blitzing and the run blitzing on first and second down.
Yes,
Try to put them behind the sticks and then challenge their receivers to beat us on third down. Like, I don't think we need to pull out too many tricks, but I like the run blitzing and filling those gaps and being aggressive, especially if we have a lot of linebackers out there. I could see a lot of Queens shooting up the gap and even Harrison just getting there early or pressing the line of scrimmage. It's going to be really interesting to see how we handle this. But yeah, I'm kind of with the if we wink at all, do it early.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
the tough part about it is, though, Garnett, is we've seen a lot of Baker now. I mean, he's been in the league and been in our division since 2018. He does, like, the weakness that he has is that he shrinks under pressure and he kind of gets smaller in the pocket instead of standing tall in the pocket and delivering. You can see him sailing balls. That's where he had a problem with interceptions. Chuck and duck, another good phrase for what Baker does. So it's kind of a tough balance. Like, I want to put Baker under pressure, but I want to be able to do it with four. Hopefully I can, have my cake and eat it too in that one.
I think we're having two cakes because I think we'll be able to get home. I really think I think Wink is going to dial it up correctly this week, and I think he's going to have more trust into a Bowser and then or a Dafio way or a Houston, and just hit him hard, man. Hit him where it hurts on first. We know what they want to do on first now. It's no secret. They want to run the ball. They want to set the tone. How about we set our tone before they set their tone? And that's where I'm feeling this week, man. I feel like from here on out, if we do that, we know the philosophy, we know the game plan. Let's just execute and do it correctly, like how we've been talking about.
And then to add to that, the Ravens, for all our problems on defense, number one red zone defense, number one third down defense. Like, go figure. That just goes to show you. And I've been saying, people fighting with me with it about it, that the Ravens are very good defense down to down, and then they shoot themselves in the foot, breakdowns and assignments or miss tackle and give up these huge plays. But if we're playing 60 snaps on defense, 55 of them are going to be great, and the other 5 are going to be costing us the game or putting us way behind in the game. So we just have to get ourselves in that position to play a consistent game and make Cleveland have to convert some 3rd and 7s, 3rd and 8s. Because if that happens, I really like our chances of being able to hold Cleveland down offensively in this game.
I'm right there with you, buddy. Like it's well, you said it well better said than I can't say it any better than what you just said, my man.
All right. Well, I don't have any predictions for this game. Quite frankly, I could see it going either way. I could see either team blowing the other out. Really, if the Browns score early and they're able to run the ball and we have beat up players, I could see the Browns getting rolling in this game and having their pass rushers get after Lamar, and it could turn ugly. But on the other side of the ball, if Lamar gets rolling and we get out to an early lead and make this Cleveland team be put back on their heels, and then on defense, put them in 3rd long, make them throw the ball when we know they're throwing it, I could see the Ravens win by 20 points. So I'm really not sure what to feel about this game. I feel like I'm just going to buckle in and just hope for the best.
That's all we can do, man. Like it's one of this. Not only just our team, all the stuff that we've been through and all those things, but this NFL season. There's no way in hell nobody could predict this NFL season. Like it's the things that you expect to happen don't happen, and the things that you would never thought would happen happen. And that's how
Right.
that's where I'm at right now with this just the NFL in general, or just especially specifically with our team. Is just when you think that it should not work, it works, or vice versa. Man, I'm just here for the ride, man. I just want to see how far it can take us.
I mean, overall, Garnett, I'm really proud of this team because it's sitting at 7-3. I mean, everything that's happened, and I mean, it's just been an insane amount of injuries. We thought we had bad injury years before, but this one has got to take the cake when you talk about the importance of the players. But if we win this week and New England beats Tennessee, we are the number 1 seed in the AFC after 11 games. With everything that's happened, and you turn that around, if we don't come through in this game, everything shrinks. Cleveland goes to 7-5.
Right.
We go to 7-4. Pittsburgh and Cincinnati are playing this week, so chances are one of them is going to win, unless it's a tie. One of them's going to win. So just a huge swing in momentum, especially when you're talking about going to Pittsburgh and then playing this Browns team again in 2 weeks while they rest up. I mean, this one just feels like a must-win at home. If you're a must-win kind of person, you believe in must-wins, this one's it. You got to hold serve at home.
Yeah, I'm a must-win type of guy, but like those must-wins also I apply to those Miami games, especially when you brought out the glasses and all that. We knew what time it was. We had to set the tone then to show that we were, we ain't joking around, and we joked ourselves. But this is definitely a must-win. There's no, like how you said about Roman, like there's no, you play like it's the last quarter of a game, the last 2 minutes of a game. Everything needs to be done and planned out to the best of his ability early in the game. Not trying to set up go off a 15-play script and then just, oh well, I'm just gonna go off of, I know it's not really gonna work. But no, let's do our best abilities on those things. Pass the ball on first down a couple times just to help out, the run game. Basically a quick passing game is a run game, like how you always say. So Yeah, man. I'm ready. I'm strapped up. I'm ready.
All right, so if you had to pick, who would you say has a big game for the Ravens? I'm choosing Mark Andrews as my obvious guy. Is there anybody else that jumps out as somebody you say, all right, this player is going to play well and have a big game for the Ravens?
I, man, I'm excluding the quarterback. We already know what he's going to try to do. He's going to do his best of his ability. But I, I'm leaning on Bateman. That's what I'm leaning on, man. If he can just keep on moving those chains when he's called upon, I think it's going to be I think it's going to play. It's going to pay a lot for us, especially this is the first time. Obviously going against Cleveland, Cleveland going against him. It's one of those things where I think, yeah, you can watch film, but as we know, watching film and playing against the guys is a little bit different. So I think he's going to play a vital role in this game.
So how about on the other side? Who's got to step up in
Brandon
this game?
Brandon Stevens, big time. Like there's no if and buts about it. Marlon's going to try to do his thing. Anthony Avery, depending on his health, how healthy he'll be, and if he start, hopefully he'll be starting. He'll be good, but it's just Brandon Stevens, man. Chuck Clark, I feel like Chuck Clark, he has been playing bad, but when you watch the film, he'll make a couple mistakes where he'll have his eyes in the backfield and then get caught up on certain things, but it's always him trying to direct Stevens or get people into play. And I feel like if Stevens can take himself out of the equation and just play good ball, I think that would help out tremendously in our secondary, especially in those 3 side end packages like we talked about earlier.
Yeah, good choices. So Garnett, off his 4th ACL surgery, the first one was from, you mind if I say it?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
An IED in Afghanistan, where you got, what was it? Your leg got caught in between the seatbelt and the door. Is that?
Yes, sir. 2012. No, so the first one, the first IED blast either was in March, April, March. Just know it's a couple of them that happened. Just know that this one it happened, and that what initially caused me having this ridiculous knee, man. And the biggest thing what happened was I didn't really I had sharp pains. Got it checked out. They got told to just take some ibuprofen and put some ice on and see what happens, man. So the whole deployment, I was rocking with a torn ACL, didn't even know, which is pretty crazy. And then years later, like damn near almost 5 to 6 years later, the pain just became somewhat unbearable. I sat up on a table with a doctor. He looked at it like, yeah, you don't have an ACL in your left knee. I'm like, really? They're like, yeah. So that's where I'm at now.
So you're rehabbing just as hard as the guys that are out for the year on the Ravens. So Garnett's with you in spirit. He knows what that recovery is all about after 4th surgery.
Yes,
so
sir.
so yeah, man, I really appreciate you taking time over the holidays, and hopefully this brightened your day a little bit, gave you something to do while you're sitting there doing nothing.
Absolutely.
So
Man.
So we got to give a shout out to Jake too, man. What do you think Jake's doing right now at the in-laws' house?
Probably talking about go dogs and go dogs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's probably watching college football or something. Yeah, I know that. All right, so hey, thank you to my football family. Thank you for everybody for watching. Go Ravens. Let's hope we can pull out this win, because it would mean so much for the rest of the season. And that way when we go to Cleveland, Garnett, we're looking to sweep them and really take a big step instead of trying to fight to even things up and settle the score. So hey, get the first one. Let's get this first score. What do you say, Garnett?
Hey, I want to say one of my favorite linebacker of all time, right now or never. That's all I got to say. We already know who that came from.
All right, guys. Well, you guys have a good night. Thanks for joining us. Garnett, say goodbye.
All right, man. Love y'all.